Hello, everyone, and welcome to, I think we're up to day 7 of the 10 Days of Lives to celebrate 10 years of Imagineering to a Better World. And today's just going to be a quick one, but I just wanted to just go through. We sort of skipped, we did quite a bit on 2014, then we fast forwarded to 2020. So I just wanted to mention a few highlights from the years in between. I think it might have been 2014. I spoke at the Murdoch University Graduate School of Management, which led to some amazing connections. And a big shout out to Jeremy Chetty, who became one of my mentors. He was one of the other speakers on that day from Student Edge, and he was just awesome. I used to meet with him, I think, once a month. Or definitely for a year and probably longer. And we're still sort of in a bit of loose contact all these years later, and there was just so many different interns that we had and volunteers, and it was just awesome. And especially leading up to this event and even during this event, I've reconnected with a few people. So shout out to Rena and Nicole and just so many people. It was just awesome. 2015, we did a session at the Bali Star Academy in Bali, which was brilliant. And that was actually doing training for the teachers slash supervisors for the homeschooling co-op. And then 2015, I was down, Bali was 2015, and then Esperance. And one of the things that we did in Esperance, I should have pulled that up because that's a bit exciting. So what I did with that one, I had a stall in the middle of the street and in the middle of the market, which I quite often do. And it was just amazing. I was doing it with a friend of mine. There was two of us that were doing it. And well, she was actually doing it to help children to actually create a Christmas present for their parents. And that was just absolutely lovely. And I just shared the stall with her. But basically, it was, again, what we always do. It was basically speaking to people in the market and just asking them, okay, if you imagine a better world, what does it look like to you? And it was just beautiful. So this one was really interesting because it wasn't just the local people in Esperance. And for those of you who don't know, Esperance is roughly even up to nearly a 10-hour drive south of Perth. And Perth is the most isolated capital city in the world in Western Australia. And so I will come out and do a screen share because that's pretty exciting, that one. So this, hopefully you'll be able to see that here. Why? What happened there? That was weird. I don't know. I'll have to check how that looked. I don't know why that went all a bit weird. I'll just bring that across. I'll try and do the screen share again. Okay, so there we are. So this is the one that we created. And so basically after we did it at the markets, I actually took it to the local school, the local high school. And so we had students at risk as well as some of the top students that were part of the Tournament of Minds, which was just amazing. I love that competition. So if you haven't heard of it, Tournament of Minds looks brilliant. And so there's some of the things that a lot of these were students, and then some were from people who had actually were part of a cruise. So sometimes, like here, you can see free dancing at school or more school outings, homeless shelter, loyalty, social justice, community-focused and financially responsible local government, peace, unity, perseverance, self-control, youth house, police and citizens, culture, hope, creativity. Not sure what that says. Yeah, just community gardens, community kitchens. So it was just so much fun. And then out of that came the song We Decree Freedom, which was initially called We Declare Freedom, and then it became We Decree Freedom. So I'll see. I don't think I'm going to share that tonight because I want to show some other things. But we do have some of the music has not really been released, but I have shot little videos. And We Decree Freedom, that was actually from 2022. I actually entered that into a competition with Raising Royalty, and it was a talent quest. And I think that was the entry that I did. And so that the lyrics actually came from this banner. So that was pretty exciting. So that's just an example of the things that we do. Um, Now, also what we've been doing. So that was 2015. And then let's have a look. What else did we do? Oh, that's right. I used to do markets in Burleigh on the Gold Coast. And then I also did an Imagineering seminar it wasn't necessarily for a particular church, but it was for a ladies group that was wider than one particular church. And that was just amazing. And we actually had an artist who, as we were talking and doing the seminar, she was actually sketching out and creating a banner, which was just amazing. Did it a few more places. I also was engaged to teach social entrepreneurship for 2 weeks. The second time, actually, um, at a post-secondary school or English language college. One of them was a business college that I'd been engaged at for a week to teach social enterprise previously. And again, using all the tools that, like Prosper as Your Soul Prospers and the Imagineering, philosophies, which was just awesome. And I don't want to get into 2018, 2019 yet because I've been holding off. I'd like to share, just following on from what we were doing with Ishani last night, I'm going to just flick through and do a screen share to our webpage just to show you, because I'm going to show you a couple of clips of particular people. And so Ishani last night, Ishani Nigam, actually maybe 2 nights ago, she was amazing. She was involved in the book launch of The Man Who Came Back. So we'll just pull this up. So this is off the homepage of the website. So this is The Man Who Came Back. And what I thought I'd do is a little clip with Nariki. Now, Nariki did do a celebration message. He was actually part of the face-to-face celebrations in Sydney a couple of weeks ago, but I can't find it. Sorry, Nariki. So what I thought I'd do is just like a little flashback of when he was being interviewed by Mate, his brother, and this was just after The Man Who Came Back came out. But like I said, one of the things that we love to do is come alongside young people, and then we help mentor them and lead them through. And Ishani was talking about that. And usually what I do is I only take people on in that role, especially for mentoring in small business, if they've also got at least 1 or 2 other, small business mentors as well, especially for the young men, because I believe men need to have men coming alongside them. And sometimes like Hikaru does step into that role a little bit, but just not on the business side, particularly at the moment. Okay, so let's stop the share there, and I'm going to pull up just a short clip of where I've got it queued, where we had Mate interviewing. So Mate is his brother. So Mate was amazing. He actually was the main AV guy who helped us do the book launch of The Man Who Came Back. And Lulu, shout out to Lulu, their sister, she was the photographer. So she did the author shots of that as well. So let's just get that ready and just set up that screen share. And we'll just play just a couple of minutes of this one.
Did you want to tell us a bit about what the book is about?
So the main character's name is Arthur Wing, and he's in northern China. He lives in northern China. He's a Chinese young man, and the story starts off as him being a little kid with his family, his mom, but he does not have a dad. So I think the story struggles with young men not having father figures. That's one of the problems that Alphaling has to go through. Another thing is his own responsibility as his own man, as like just basically a human being in general. He has responsibilities and things he has to do to be independent. So independence is another problem or development that he goes through. So the story like goes through all these basic. Should I talk about the whole story, like the timeline, or
Just
so like yeah, basically he's from a young man. He kind of like spends time with his family in the countryside, humble livings, and he has like a joy and a good type of character in him when he starts off young, but he develops this this desire to move out, to explore, to adventure into different things. But I think that leads him down the wrong path, and he becomes kind of self-centered in a way. And so that's one of the things he moves past as he comes back eventually to the village where his mum and family live. And he's different. Somehow he's different. He's not the same person that he was when he was a kid. And that different being a bad type of different. But then his community and people get around him, especially this Kung Fu teacher, to help him develop independence and the sense of responsibility to live as a man. And then
I've just got to stop it there. I was choosing all different sections and listening to what he was saying, but I didn't want to give the whole story away. So yeah, but it was just awesome because what I've done, especially with that one, I did an expression of interest for illustrators, and I think that one we actually had 13 different applications from around Australia, and I think there was actually one from New Zealand as well for that one. And what I did was I sort of had initial, communications with the illustrators, and then I had them do a like a concept drawing, and then I chose Nariki, and that was fabulous. And I knew Nariki through other people, so I'd sort of seen him around a little bit, so that made it good as well that we were actually in the same location. And by the way, with Ishani, there was actually 66 people that applied for her internship, for a volunteer internship, and she talked to this about a little bit about the process. And there was 3 different stages, and even at so not the first stage, but so I think it went from 66 down to 13, down to 4, or down to 7, and then down to 4, and it was just amazing. So I was so pleased that we ended up with Ishani, and that was brilliant. And like I said, she's become a true friend of Imagineering. Now, and my apologies, Nariki did do a beautiful message, but I just can't find it at the moment. But I do have, actually, I was just going to flick back to the website again just for a moment, because if I can see it there, I don't know if that'll work. Oh, no, it won't work. Okay, we'll leave that. Actually, how can I get that ready? I will just persevere a moment longer. Okay, I've got it now. Okay, because Nariki was the illustrator for 2. And so Ishani was instrumental, and she was co-host. So she was the online host. And then with Nariki and Mate, who were actually helping with that. So that was for this, the man who came back. And then Nariki was also the illustrator for this one. And then Ishani was the graphic designer also for this one. So that was after she'd been a volunteer intern. I engaged her professionally to be a graphic designer for this one. So I just wanted to, just share some different projects, but also how we work alongside people. Okay, now we also have heard a little bit from different people talking about the women's wisdom through the ages. So that was something that came out in 2020. So basically, it's a podcast. It's also one of the mini series on the Imagineering to a Better World or under Catherine Elliss for the YouTube channel. And the whole sense behind women's wisdom through the ages is that women think differently at different ages. Well, we all do. But also women of different ages think differently. Like I probably have a different experience and a different worldview than someone who's 80 or someone who's 20. But it's when we can come together, it's more likely we can actually overcome the issues in society and all of those things. And also over the years. So different times, the first year we did it was mostly me interviewing people. The next year we did it differently, where we looked at even like through history, there was looking at women, and there was one with women involved in deliverance, and even in ancient Egypt and different things. So that was quite fascinating. And then someone who's been interviewed a few times is actually Mina Kumar, and she is an amazing lady. Probably quite a few of you will recognise her face. She was also her and her lovely husband joined us for the face-to-face celebrations of the 10 years in Sydney recently. But I have a message here from Mina that she sent through to play during this celebration. So I'll just do the share and play that.
Hi, Catherine. Thank you for and Imagineering to a Better World for including me in your 10-year celebrations. I'm really proud to participate in this celebration. We just had a chat about my first book, The Peripheral, and as always, it's lovely chatting with you. I've always found the topics that have been taken up by Imagineering to a Better World to be both meaningful and interesting. And my last podcast with you was, I think, 3 years ago, or maybe 5 years ago. I found that I find you, Catherine, to be an excellent interviewer. You make everyone feel so comfortable, and the questions are always very, very relevant, and you make things really interesting and very informal as well. I've really, really enjoyed my conversations with you over my breast cancer journey. The last time we had a chat, and now with my book also. I find that you really understand where your interviewees are coming from, and all the topics that you've covered so far. I've seen at least 5 or 6 of them. I found them very, very interesting, very comprehensive, and always meaningful. So thank you very much. I hope you have great celebrations and go on to doing many, many more such podcasts and take up these meaningful topics as you find them.
Okay, so a special thank you to Mina. And yeah, her book is amazing. Where am I up to? I've had a really busy week this week, obviously, with doing this and working and so many other things. But I'm halfway through, and as soon as I was even like maybe 20% of the way through, I said, Mina, this has to be a film. It's a brilliant book. I'm absolutely loving it. Like I said, I'm halfway through, and I would read it a lot more, except that I've just been so busy. So it's just, I do find this platform has allowed me to meet, just amazing people and get to know them a bit more, especially with the interviews. So with Imagineering, like I said, we have books, we have YouTube channels, we have, the consulting, the coaching, or not so much coaching, but it's more like mentoring or training, workshops, things like that. But tomorrow I'm really excited to share about some of the blogs that we've been doing and also sharing about what is coming up. So this year in Women's Wisdom Through the Ages, we will be going back to interviewing more people. So I've got quite a few people lined up. And also, I have just spoken to Nariki about doing another project together. So that's exciting. And so each of the books that I do are actually all part of series. And so I've already written another book after The Man Who Came Back. I've already sketched out, done a skeleton of each of the books following. And then one of my favorite books is Caitlin is Loved, but that hasn't been published yet. So we'll look at getting that up and running soon as well. So yeah, it was so awesome to catch up with Nariki, and especially, a few years on. So, well, thank you so much for everyone. I didn't actually make this one live tonight because it's actually quite late here. And I just had such a big day and I had a few deadlines happening. So I had to get some other things done. So I'm very tired. So anyway, thank you. Remember, we can change the world one day at a time, one person at a time, one decision at a time. Okay. Bless you. Thanks for watching.